Hello everyone. So I wanted to introduce a concept that's going to be pretty crucial to our writing process this quarter, question-based feedback. And it might be a little bit different from what you're used to in your English classes. And this process and this method came as a result of some research on my part after kind of being frustrated with the feedback process, not really feeling like it was effective for me or for you. So kind of the problem that if I think back to being a student, and if your experience is close to anything like mine, the feedback you get on your papers isn't always as helpful as it could be. So I remember as a student I might get a paper back and it would have a few scribbles on it. Maybe I understood what they said, maybe I didn't, but I usually wanted to know more. Or as a teacher, I kind of go the opposite direction where I give way too much feedback. So I pull up the paper and then I have to talk about everything. But if you get back a paper that has 30 different suggestions for improvement, that's way too much, right? You become overwhelmed. So typically with our feedback, we either get too much feedback or too little. And it's not necessarily the feedback we need. As writers, we can really only focus on a couple things at a time, right? So if you're struggling with something in your writing or you're trying to get better at some aspect of it, it's helpful to have kind of 2 or 3 things to work on and just focus on those things rather than getting, tons and tons of feedback that marks every single thing. That can be too much. But, the other way is teachers taking a while to grade the papers and they don't give enough feedback. So the idea behind question-based feedback is that you are in charge of the feedback you get. Now, the other issue with the feedback, so kind of going back to this slide, was that sometimes you get feedback, but it's not the feedback you need, right? Maybe you already knew that you had that problem with your paper, but you just didn't have time to fully address it. Or maybe you wanted feedback on a certain aspect and you didn't get that feedback. So with question-based feedback, you become the director for what kind of feedback you want. It means that you are in charge of your writing in the sense that you choose what questions to ask and what to learn more about in your writing. Now, this is very important for you because when you go out into the real world, you're not always going to have, a teacher there with you to say, oh, watch out for those comma splices, or, here's a 15-minute video to show you how to improve your writing. You're going to need to be able to develop that inner voice for yourself to know how to improve your writing. And that's what this is all about. You don't want to have to rely on a teacher to help you improve your writing for the rest of your life. This is about self-sufficiency. So what we're going to do in this class is that you present questions that go with your writing. And so when we do a workshop with your peers, they're going to give you feedback that answers the questions you ask them about your writing. And when you turn in a final draft to me to be graded, I'm going to give you feedback based on the questions you ask me. In this way, you are thinking about your writing critically in a way that you're already kind of rereading it to think about, okay, what do I still want to know more about? You're not relying on somebody else to just read it and tell you everything you need to know, but you're actually putting yourself in an active position to learn the things that you need and you want to learn. So it's a lot more individualized, it's less overwhelming, and it's going to be more suited to you and your needs. It's also going to have other benefits in your life, because if you think about a lot of the most incredible discoveries we've experienced in our history, most of those came about as the result of someone asking a question, right? As the old legend goes about gravity, that the discovery of that concept, legend says, comes from watching an apple fall from a tree. That when Sir Isaac Newton saw this apple fall, he asked, why does it fall straight down? Why doesn't it fall, one way or the other? What causes this to happen? That question led to a discovery, and many amazing discoveries have come about because of similar inspired questions. Asking good questions, asking questions that are inspired, will help you to learn the things that you need to learn. And so it's a very important skill, not just in an English class, but it's going to help you in all aspects of your life. because asking the right questions leads to the answers that can change your life. So, and that's certainly true when it comes to writing. So we're going to focus on your ability to ask questions, and we're not just going to assume that you know how to ask questions at the beginning. So it's going to be a process. You're going to practice asking questions on the discussion boards, and then you'll have chances to go back and look at the questions you asked and the answers you received and think about, okay, how could I have asked better questions? And we'll continue to refine your ability to ask questions about your writing with the goal that by the end of the quarter, you'll be much more adept at being able to look at your writing and ask the right questions about it. And like I said, this is going to put you in charge of your writing. Now, a lot of students want to say, well, why don't you just tell me what I need to fix? That's a lot easier for me. And that's true. But the whole point of this isn't to make it easy. It's to make you self-sufficient. It's to make you in charge of your own writing and your own growth. And so, yes, it's going to take a little more effort on your part. But that's kind of the whole point. This way, you are getting the feedback you need, not too little, not too much. And you're in charge of kind of the questions that bring that feedback forth. So I'm excited for this to be integrated in the class because the research shows that this can make a really big difference in terms of your ability to benefit from your feedback and to find the feedback process to be more meaningful. So I'll give you more directions here, but that's just kind of an intro into this concept so you understand why we're doing it this way and why it's maybe a little different than what you've done in the past.